Welcome to WMTR's Sound Advice. It's 65th hour, Mondays from 7:30 till 8:30, right here on WMTR. And here's your host, Theodore Tracey.
You are listening to the 65th hour, Mondays with Theodore Tracey, the voice for senior solutions. Welcome to my live show every Monday, 7:30 to 8:30 p.m., right here on WMTR 1250 AM. Today, my friends, I'm so happy to be with you once again. I want to introduce myself to you and why I'm so passionate and on fire to share with you this critical and valuable information about the next stage of your vibrant years and how we together can maximize them by you having the right information and knowledge to make the most enlightened and educated decision concerning the next journey in your life. Over the course of the show, we will be discussing a number of very valuable and beneficial topics to help you ease your stress relating to health and financial issues by having the best sources and information available to you on each of these topics. Starting this week, we will also open up a Q&A where people can call in. We will then choose the best of these questions to help benefit and educate you on all of these concerns in each of these categories. My friends listening here tonight, my name is Theodore Tracey, and I am Senior Vice President and Managing Partner of Federal National Funding. I have been in the medical, health, and financial industry for over 20 years. I have an extensive range of experiences which my practice focuses on, such as helping families deal with financial burdens when one enters a nursing home or assisted living facility. I am also covering subjects such as Medicare, financial issues and temporary care, advising clients on final stage planning, also crisis Medicaid long-term care services, long-term care insurance, veterans benefit entitlements. Then, my friends, we go all the way to real estate finance, property casualty insurance, and life insurance. And it doesn't stop there. My passion for what I do is what gets me up in the morning. I have also been conducting educational workshops concerning senior veteran benefits, Medicare temporary care, and Medicaid long-term care. One of my passions, my friends, is to educate the senior community and all of you about government benefit issues when a family member has a need for long-term care. Now more than ever, this information needs to be shared with all of you. Due to the extensive amount of changes that are occurring right before our eyes concerning all these matters, and even more important, where all your children, friends, and family need to be more aware to prepare properly for the next stage for their loved one's life, even including their own. There is a lot involved to all of this in the early stages before it becomes staggering and very stressful. That is why I'm here to talk to all of you tonight, so we can follow up face to face and sit down individually so I can go over with you in detail everything you need to be comfortable with moving forward. This is my goal for all of you and everyone you know in your life. Tonight's topic, my friends, will be little-known benefits for senior veterans. In the following weeks, topics such as Medicaid, final stage planning, home, car, mortgage, and life insurance, Social Security benefit options, senior placement, relocation, senior independence, nursing care at home, and so much more. My friends, I would now like to really dig into our topic for this evening, little-known benefits for senior veterans. And I want to thank our veterans for their service. And now I would like to introduce to you my producer, Miss Dianne Wesley. The lines are open. The telephone number, 967-267-9687. And now, Dianne, how are you doing this evening?
I am absolutely fantabulous. I feel like I can't believe this is our third week already, Theo.
Yes.
This is just awesome.
Absolutely.
And to have a topic such as we are going to discuss tonight,
Yes.
which is going to reach so many hearts because so many families have someone that is a veteran in their family.
Yes.
You know I had my dad and my pop-up. I'm sure you did too.
Yes, yes.
And just recently I was able and had the absolute honor and pleasure for singing and performing the Star-Spangled Banner for the division, the 226th in New York for the Marines. And this is how passionate they are about our country.
Oh, without question.
And I have chills just thinking about this. So they're all standing there. They're at attention. Their hands are behind their back.
Yes.
And I'm trying to sing because I'm so choked up. The energy in that room just proves how powerful our country is and how powerful our military is and their belief in us to risk their lives.
Absolutely.
So I started singing, and there was just not a dry eye in the house.
Yes.
And it just made me feel so much more connected that we can do our part in different ways.
Yes.
You know, whatever it is. Ladies and gentlemen, do your part. Anything you can do to help a veteran, please do. And that's why I'm so proud of you, Theo, because you are helping veterans. You're helping them know these things, you know, these little known benefits. I'm so excited you to dig in now and really express it because there's so much to talk about.
Absolutely, absolutely. We definitely take it upon ourselves to educate our veterans. We thank you for your service. Being the fact that I do come across seniors in my daily appointments and so forth, the very known fact is that 30% of our senior community is actually composed of senior veterans.
Wow.
And so there are certain entitlements that they are afforded as a result of their service, and really, to be very honest, that some of them are not really familiar with or have knowledge of these benefits. And so that being said, we are going to get right now into our topic, which is little known benefits for senior veterans. And first of all, I'd like to discuss who is considered a veteran. Okay, a veteran is considered an individual who served on active duty in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, or Coast Guard. The National Guard or the Reserve are also considered veterans if they are called up to active duty by the government and served their required tour of duty. Right now in the United States, there's roughly about 21.6 million veterans currently serving. 9.7 million veterans are age 65 and older. Okay, so that being said, senior veterans make up about 45% of all veterans. Okay, and that being said, as I've mentioned before, senior veterans make up about 1/3 of the senior community in the United States. So it's a great number of veterans that are out there, and there are certain entitlements that they are afforded because of their service, and we are going to go in more depth this evening. What I'd first like to discuss in depth is understanding the options for aging senior veterans. Veterans and their survivors have resources available that other seniors do not have. And we will summarize these resources for your clarification. What we will do now is review the most commonly awarded conditions for VA disability. That's Veterans Disability. The two most commonly awarded disability compensation for veterans is tinnitus and hearing loss. I don't know if our listening audience is familiar with tinnitus. That is a high-pitched ringing sound in your ear. It is often cannot be detected by a physician. So the fact of the matter is the physician and the Department of Veterans have to really go upon you saying that there is a high-pitched ringing sound in your ear. These are the two most highly awarded benefits for VA disability, that being tinnitus and hearing loss.
Quick question on that one. If it is tinnitus or tinnitus, how how deep does it have to go? How bad does it have to be considered a real problem?
Well, the fact is that what I tell veterans is that first of all, these veterans benefits are determined on basis of a medical rating. So a hearing loss rating is actually at a 10% disability rating. That allows a veteran to receive a monthly income of $136.24 per month. I often tell it is very common, because as I said before, it is the two most commonly awarded disability compensation is tinnitus and hearing loss. And what I stress to our veterans is, if you find that you are having difficulty with hearing, I would stress, speak on the fact if you are getting this high-pitched ringing sound in your ear, because a physician cannot argue with you that it is not so. So I often tell people, if that's the case, one cannot tell you that you do not hear this thing.
Right, because they can't hear your inside of your head.
It's individually inside your head. Exactly.
Okay.
In order to get this claim approved, the veteran has to currently have a hearing loss and prove that he or she had a service assignment which resulted in exposure to loud or sudden air pressure changes. So it has to be documented that as a result of your service, you were either dealing in artillery, bombing situations, anything that really affects your hearing, you would be entitled to this benefit. Being awarded this benefit not only results in extra monthly income for the veteran, but it also allows the veteran to receive VA health care, which includes free hearing aids, free batteries for the hearing aids, eyeglasses, and prescription drugs at $8 copay per month. Right now, as I said before, it is a very commonly awarded benefit. We had, in our previous program, we had discussed that currently there's about 40 million, just in terms of the terms of the high cost of long-term care services. There are roughly about 40 million Americans right now over the age of 65. And what we said earlier, projected by the year 2040, it's projected that it's going to be 80 million Americans that are age 65 and older. So, we've discussed before that the high cost of nursing care and how the high likelihood that someone would require some form of long-term care assistance. The fact of the matter is, based on those numbers that we just spoke about, 75% of that number will require some form of long-term care. Okay? 20% will require at least 5 years of long-term care. And I don't know if you callers had listened to our previous program, we had discussed that the average cost for a nursing home is roughly about $10,000 to $12,000 a month. So that being said, that number representing 20% of that are require 5 years. 5 years would result in a cost of roughly about $600,000 over that 5-year period.
And that's something we also discussed, that who has $600,000 in their pocket, who is a veteran or somebody that's been disabled, or, it doesn't make sense. There's got to be another way. And you were saying you can sit down with them and help them work this out to see how you can make it an easier fit for these different needs?
Absolutely. What I do is I do screen the veterans that I do come in contact with to make them aware of their entitlements. As I said before, some of these benefits are not commonly known. So what I do is try to enlighten our veterans and make them aware, because some of these benefits, to be very honest, can be life-changing. If someone is having difficulty with their income or not having a certain amount of assets to help with paying for these type of long-term care, so these entitlements that I make the veterans aware of can be life-changing and really be on time to assist them to offsetting some of these costs. What I'd like to do right now is to review some of these programs that will will assist the veteran and their survivors with some of these long-term care costs. And the first program we will discuss is what they call pension and death pension. These are tax-free monthly awards for senior veterans who served at least 90 days in service and 1 day during a period of war. And examples of periods of war would be World War I, World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. The qualifications for receiving this tax-free monetary benefit would be very low income or very large out-of-pocket medical expenses.
Can you explain a little bit more about that? The large out-of-pocket expenses. What would be an example?
Well, what would be an example is if a family is currently paying for home health aid assistance on a monthly basis, so we could actually use that expense to reduce the income to help qualify for that pension or that death pension. Because the fact of the matter is the monthly benefits range from $700 for the pension and the death pension. The monthly benefit range from $735 a month to $2,169 a month. And this benefit is determined based on income. So I believe we do have a caller on the line.
Yes, we do. We have Alex on the line, and he had a question along this space that we're talking about, and including PSTD, which a lot of veterans have, as well as talking about the hearing loss, because I know he's interested in you and what you had to say. So, Alex, are you there? Hello, Alex?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. If you could kindly speak up a little bit.
Yes, no problem.
Okay, and
yes, good evening, Alex. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing very well, Theo. Thank you for welcoming me to the show.
Yes, my pleasure. And how can I help you? What is your question for this evening?
Well, I'm calling in because I'm a friend of Dianne, happen to be a Vietnam veteran. And
thank you for your service.
My insight on your subject matter tonight might be of help.
Okay. And definitely, Alex, I want to thank you for your service. Some of the, there are quite a bit of, I think it's roughly about 2.2 million veterans that's actually served in Vietnam. And so definitely I want to thank you for your service. And you do have a question in regards to the hearing loss, PTSD and things of that nature?
Yes, of course. I'm very familiar with that.
Okay. Well, are you having difficulty? Your question is, are you having difficulty with your hearing at this time where you're looking to pursue that claim? Or what exactly is your question?
No, I actually have been an advocate in the veterans community for well over 40 years as a Vietnam veteran.
Okay.
Participated as an accredited service rep on claims.
Oh, okay. Beautiful. Okay, beautiful. So you're definitely aware of the benefit of actually pursuing this hearing loss benefit and the tinnitus claim.
Correct.
Yes, and then of course the fact that it does afford a veteran to receive health care, because not everyone, of course, is eligible for the VA health care.
That's correct.
Yes. And then in regards to, I know you had some of your questions in terms of, are you finding that, in your experience, are you finding that our healthcare, the VA healthcare, is assisting our veterans, or what are your thoughts about the VA healthcare?
Around the nation, there are gaps of veterans obviously falling through the safety net of the VA.
Mm-hmm.
Here in New York City, we really have what I would think is some of the best VA-run hospitals and facilities and programs throughout the city.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see that many problems, except with veterans that I'm working with on their claims to get qualified for medical benefits as well as compensation.
Okay. Okay, very good, and definitely. And then, just a quick question for you too, Alex. Are you finding? I know you had mentioned PTSD. Are you finding that there is support for our veterans that are dealing with these issues? Because in my experience, in terms of me entering these households, I do come across senior veterans that are suffering with, PTSD. And are you finding that there are resources available to assist our veterans in terms of dealing with this?
Yes. There are the Veterans Crisis Hotline for veterans who are in high anxiety issues or depression issues. But today there are well more organizations and supporters for veterans and linking them up to benefits than there were when I came out of the Marine Corps.
Okay, I understand. And let me ask you this, because in my travels, and I think our listeners would be interested in this, I do find it very common that a lot of the veterans that I am meeting are not really familiar with some of their entitlements. Are you finding that the same case in terms of what you're doing in terms of assisting our veterans with their claims? Are you finding that as well?
Oh, yes. That's always been a constant problem of veterans. Many of them who have been in the military, sometimes they're not even aware about the Veterans Administration, even though there's been a lot of, promotion and advertisements, outreach by the VA to be sure that all veterans are aware that there is resources there for them.
Yes. I mean, just, in terms of my travels and so forth, I find that, a lot of the benefits are not advertised in terms of me meeting with the various veterans organizations and speaking to them, because we do offer educational workshops on this subject matter, that, some of they're not familiar with certain entitlements. And I do feel that, and I'm sure you would agree, that these benefits being offered to our veterans can be life-changing.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
One of my recommendations for any and all veterans that are, separating from the military is that they do a project transition and research 6 months prior to their discharge date, so that they could line up future benefits, jobs, etc.
Yes, I agree.
All right. I'm sorry, gentlemen. This is so interesting. And Theo, these are the kind of things that if people come and sit down with you, with them and their families, that is going to allow you to go into more detail, because we have another caller coming in.
Okay.
So I'd like to, for those listening, you can get in touch with Theo at 201-342-3300. Alex, thank you so much for that informative conversation here tonight. But we're going to have to take line 2.
Okay.
It's Linda from Hackensack.
Yes, good evening, Linda. How are you doing this evening?
Yes, good evening.
Okay.
Quick question for you.
Yes.
My husband was a veteran and passed away in 2010.
Okay.
I would like to know if I'm entitled to any benefits, and if so, what are they?
Okay, great question. Definitely thank you for that question. Yes, the first matter at hand in terms of determining your eligibility is to have what they call the DD-214. That form is DD-214, which is the discharge paperwork for your husband. At that point, we would determine which war, because the qualification, he has to be served at least 90 days in service and 1 day during a period of war, whether that be World War I, World War II, the Korean War, or the Vietnam War. So if your husband did serve during one of those time periods, you would be entitled to benefits. Okay. In regards to, you would be entitled to either the death pension, which would allow you a monthly benefit of $735. Okay, but that is determined based on your income. So and then also assets. So right now you cannot have assets that exceed $40,000, and your income, unfortunately, based on the benchmark, is $735, which is actually the monthly benefit. And if by chance, Linda, if you are having any difficulties with what they call ADLs, or activities of daily living, you would be entitled to an additional monetary benefit to that death pension, which they would call death pension aid and attendance. And that monthly benefit for the year of 2018 is $1,176 per month that would be given to you monthly to assist you with that care. So that being said, I would recommend that you would first determine when your husband served, and we'd be doing that by looking at his DD 214, and that would be the first start. But definitely you are entitled to benefits if your husband served during that time period.
Really? Well, that's wonderful news. To pursue this further, I'd like to come in and, have an appointment. And,
absolutely, without question. I'm going to give you our numbers, and for the audience as well, our numbers at the office is 201-342-3300. And Linda, definitely give us a call. We'll sit down face to face. We'll go over in depth your situation, and we will let you know all of the avenues that are available to you. For the audience, the call-in number again, that's 973-267-9687. Linda, I thank you for your call, and you have a beautiful evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. You are listening to WMTR 1250 AM, 973-267-WMTR. or 973-267-9687. If you have a question, please feel free. We are about to go into a commercial. So write your question. We'll give you an answer. As you can see, Theo is absolutely full of knowledge and full of passion about this subject. In fact, we might end up having to have a whole nother show because we've had so many questions, and it's very delicate.
Yes, and very complicated as well. These are subjects that are not commonplace. The information is not always shared, but we do make it a point of really educating our seniors as well as our veterans. And we were going to a break. You are listening to the 65th Hour, Mondays with Theodore Tracey, the voice for senior solutions. Well, I'm glad that we're back, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, we are.
We are going to continue our discussion this evening. For tonight's topic, we're discussing little-known benefits for senior veterans. And now I'm going to go into our second program. And the second program is called the DIC. And that acronym stands for Dependency Indemnity Compensation. And it is available to a surviving spouse of a deceased veteran for any of the following circumstances. Number one, the veteran has died on active duty for training, or inactive duty for training. Number two, the veteran death after service resulted from an injury or disease incurred while in service. Number three, veteran received improper treatment from the VA healthcare or work rehabilitation services. And number four, the veteran was 100% disabled for 10 years or more and 100% disabled for 8 or more years continuously prior to death. I just want to touch real quickly on the basis of the veteran receiving improper treatment from VA healthcare. For the veterans out there or their loved ones, if you find that you are receiving improper treatment from a VA facility, under Section 1151, you would be entitled to claim. So as a result of improper treatment that you did receive from a VA facility, under that section, you have some benefits that you would be entitled to. Monetary benefits, actually a tort that you would need to pursue. And if you do have that situation, I would recommend dealing with an attorney that actually specializes in that Section 1151 claim, because there are veteran attorneys that do specialize in a claim, and I would definitely recommend that you do consult with an attorney that specializes with that claim. The third program I would like to go over this evening is called the DIC with aid and attendance. It is, once again, the DIC acronym stands for Dependency Indemnity Compensation. If a spouse is currently receiving the DIC benefit, there is a little known benefit called the aid and attendance, where surviving spouses have no clue about this additional benefit. It is an allowance of $317.87 per month. And unlike the death pension, there are no tests for income or assets to get this aid and attendance benefit. Only evidence that services are being provided. So just a little bit clarity on this subject. You do not have to go through it in-depth evaluation. What the surviving spouse would only need to do is to get a letter from her doctor that she is in need of these additional services, aid and attendance, in terms of performing her activities of daily living, to document it from her physician, and she would get that benefit. So she's currently in an assisted living facility and receiving DIC. She can just request from her doctor a simple note saying that she requires assistance, and that spouse would get an additional benefit of $370 per month. The basic benefit for DIC is $1,283, but an additional benefit of $317 would be afforded to that spouse. The DIC surviving senior spouse receiving DIC with aid and attendance allowance can make more monthly income up to $1,873 a month than a senior surviving spouse receiving a death pension at $1,176 per month. So what it is the fact that with DIC, it allows a higher monthly benefit as opposed to the death pension. And one thing that I want to mention, with the death pension as well as the pension, those benefits are determined based on income and assets. So if you're an individual, single individual, your assets cannot exceed $40,000. If you happen to be married, your assets cannot exceed $80,000. So the difference here, number one, the DIC benefit is more money that you would be entitled to as opposed to the death benefit. And then also, too, with the DIC, there is no income test or asset test like that of the death pension. So it's easier to receive that benefit. But once again, if there's any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to me. The lines are open. The number to call in, 973-267-9687. Once again, that number, 973-267-9687. I welcome your calls. This is what it's all about, sharing the knowledge, giving enlightenment to certain situations that one might be dealing with. And then also, we are going to get into our fourth program for this evening that I want to share with you. And the fourth program for this evening is the disability compensation. And what that program is, it's a tax-free benefit paid to a veteran for a service-connected disability that happened as a result of active duty training, inactive duty training, or injury from a VA healthcare facility. Now, that monthly benefit starts for a 10% disability rating at $136 per month. So going back to what we spoke about earlier, for the tinnitus and hearing loss, which is a 10% medical rating, the monthly benefit that one would be entitled is $136 per month. And that goes all the way up to 100% disability rating, and that would allow a veteran with a spouse to receive a monthly benefit of $3,139 $99 a month. Now, veterans that are currently on claim for disability compensation can often make an application for an increase in their disability rating due to worsening conditions caused by age. Another unknown benefit is if a veteran is currently on claim where you're actually receiving monthly benefits, may also be eligible for an application for individual unemployment based on their inability to maintain gainful employment even if they are retired and regardless of age. That is one benefit that is not commonly known based on the unemployment, individual unemployment, that the veteran, although they may be 90 or up in age and they may not even be working for a substantial, of course, they're retired if they're 90, I would hope so. But the fact is that you would be entitled to an additional unemployment benefit as a result of your disability compensation.
And does that mean, Theo, when they sit down with you, there's ways to maximize even some of these benefits that can best help, like, say, the older senior? Because does it change if you get older, or are you still entitled to the same amount of benefit?
Yes, well, the fact of the matter, these benefits are set in stone. Getting back to the qualifications is one does have to serve at least 90 days in service and 1 day during a period of war. Not necessarily be in warfare.
Okay.
But actually served during that time period. The caller that called in and mentioned that he was served in Vietnam. Currently there are roughly about 2.2 million veterans that have served in Vietnam, and they are afforded certain time limits. But I believe we do have a caller.
Yes, we do. The lines are open, and we have a caller right now. John, do you have a question for Theo?
Yes. Am I on the air?
Yes, John. Go right ahead. How are you doing this evening?
Pretty good. I'm a Vietnam veteran, disabled Vietnam veteran, and I received 100% disability. I'm a widower. My wife passed away 8 years ago. If I was to get married again, would a second wife be eligible for my benefits, that compensation after I die?
Yes, your wife would be eligible for benefits as a result of that. If your previous marriage was at least, or the new marriage, I believe, is at least a year or 2 years, if you're currently married, you would be entitled. Your wife would be entitled to benefit.
Oh, I'm actually not married now. I'm widowed 8 years.
Oh, you're widowed? Okay, sorry to hear that. And did you serve, and when did you serve, sir?
I served in 66 to 68. I was in Vietnam in 67, 68.
Okay. Well, definitely, the fact that you served in Vietnam, if you are, and I hope that's not the case, if you are suffering any type of medical issues, are you currently suffering any type of medical issues? Because the fact that you served during Vietnam, just the fact that you either served in Vietnam or adjacent, or served in adjacent coastal waters to Vietnam, you would be entitled to certain things in terms of conditions that are not questioned. For instance, to give you an example, the fact that you served in Vietnam, if you have diabetes type 2, if you have, say, what they call Parkinson's disease, or if you have prostate cancer, these certain conditions, being the fact that you served in Vietnam, these are not questioned. They automatically allow you to that entitlement.
Oh, I did have prostate cancer.
Oh, okay.
I had radiation treatment for it, but that was back in 2012.
Okay.
2012.
Okay.
But it's gone now. But
okay. Thanks be to God. No question. Let me ask you this: are you currently receiving claim? Are you on claim now?
You mean from the Veterans Administration?
Yes.
Yeah, I get a monthly pension. Yes.
Okay, very good. Are you getting 100% or?
100%. I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying, are you on 100% disability at this time?
I am, yes.
Okay, very good. Okay.
We'd love to talk longer, John, so if you want to set up a face-to-face with Theo, can you call him at 201-342-3300? Because we have another caller, and it just keeps getting more exciting, and we thank you so much. And, good luck on your next wife, too, if that's about to happen. It sounds like something's percolating, and life keeps going on, and you should, too.
Yes, but, John, definitely, in terms of your question, yes, your new wife would be entitled to benefit.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, have a good evening.
All right, we've got Paul from Montclair.
Yes, good evening, Paul. How are you doing this evening?
Hey, I'm good, Mr. Tracey. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Doing well. How can I help you? What is your question for us this evening?
Sure. So my grandfather, he passed away back in 2004. He served in Korea.
Okay.
So he's a veteran. He was a veteran at the time. And, I hear we may be eligible for some reimbursements on his burial benefits. I was just calling in to ask you about that.
Okay, yes. Being the fact, let me ask you this, Paul. Was your father, prior to him passing, was he receiving claim from the Veterans Department Administration?
I think he was.
Okay. Well, that being said, if your father did serve during the Korean War, he would be entitled to reimburse, or you or the family would be entitled to reimbursement of burial costs. The fact that your grandfather was on claim, there is no statute of limitations in regards to recouping some of those funds that you paid out for his burial. So that you are entitled to reimbursement of his burial costs. That being said, because he was on claim, for other listeners, if he was not on claim, just not in your situation, but others, if the person was not on claim, they have a 2-year time period before they can actually pursue reimbursement of burial costs. But in regards to your question, the fact that your grandfather was on claim, he would be entitled to you would be entitled to reimbursement of burial costs, and there is no statute of limitations in terms of recovery of that.
Okay, great. Is there a limit? Do you know in terms of what I'm? In terms of what you're entitled to? Correct.
Yes, I believe the limit is $2,000. Okay. $2,000 is the limit.
Okay.
Yes, but that would be the maximum limit, but you're definitely entitled to that. And I want to thank you for your call. We do have another call on the line. For those that are just tuning in, you are reaching the 65th hour with Theodore Tracey, the voice for senior solutions. We have another call on the line.
Yes, we do, Theo. And this is Peter from Rockaway. Peter, please, we welcome you here and thank you for your service. Do you have a question for Theo?
Yes, Peter. Good evening.
Hi, Theo. This is Peter and everything. I live in Rockaway. You're on an AM station. I'm starting to lose you because AM fades here. What I wanted to know, if you have an online address where I can go and review all of that you're saying here. My wife's been on my brother-in-law is a post commander in Pennsylvania, and I've kind of dodged the bullet here with this thing. But I'd like to know if you have an online address that I can go and review all of it.
Sure, absolutely, Peter. Let me give you that. Our website is www.federalnationalfunding.com.
Settle? S-E-T?
No, Federal. F-E-D-E-R-A-L. Federalnationalfunding.com. That is our website. Our email address, where you can,
please slow down. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Okay, let me repeat it. It's Federal.
It down. You have Federal. I've got.
Yeah, FederalNationalFunding.com. And then I would recommend you to email us. That email address is info at federalnationalfunding.com. And then, of course, Peter, definitely feel free don't hesitate to give me a call. I can at least, worst case scenario is to lead you in the right direction in terms of screening you for your family members' entitlements. Or you have any questions, we can, I can address it one-on-one, so I can at least definitely point you in the right direction. And, so you're
something a lot of guys think of. Yeah, it's something a lot of guys think about. It's to me, and there's one thing I want to say. I don't want to use it, but, I've been reluctant to take benefits. I did my job, end of story. But I have a good woman I have to think about.
Yes, absolutely. Well, the fact of the matter is, and definitely, so you did serve.
How about 2 years, a line tour in Vietnam, and 2 special assignments over there. So
wow. Okay.
God bless you.
Well, thank you.
Very cheaply put. I meet a lot of the criteria.
Yes. Well, thank you for your service without question, and definitely you are entitled to. There are certain entitlements that you need to be made aware of, and in terms of pursuing those things. So we definitely, without question, don't hesitate. You have our information. I'll be very happy to help you. And once again, I thank you very much for your service.
Right, please, one more time though, to reach you is at info@nationalfed.com.
No, that's info, INFO at federal, FEDERAL, national, NATIONAL, funding, FUNDING.com.
And his number, Peter, that you can reach him at directly in the office, if you'd like to set up a face-to-face where not have to worry about phones and all that, having crackling sounds or not reaching the area, is 201-342-3300. Peter, would you like me to repeat that?
Please.
201-342-3300. And Theo would love to sit down with a face-to-face with you and see what you're really entitled to. I think that would probably benefit you more, because then you could really ask the questions and get some real answers.
Or call me on the phone or email, either whichever you feel comfortable with. I'm definitely open to all that, but definitely the most important thing is that we address any questions you might have or concerns, and so we can lead you in the right direction.
Correct? I'm speaking to Theo?
Yes, this is Theodore, yes.
All right, that's what I need to know. Like I say, screw me, but if anything, I'm worried about her. That's also end of story.
End of story. You are entitled. Your wife is entitled, and definitely you need to be made aware. End of story, without question.
Theo, God bless her.
God bless you. Thank you, Peter. God bless you. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, bye now.
We had a email that came in, and I think this is an important question here. Is there an additional benefit for veterans currently receiving disability compensation?
Yes, there is an additional benefit for veterans receiving disability compensation. They have a benefit called SMC, and that acronym stands for Special Monthly Compensation. And what it is, it's a benefit that allows a veteran to receive an additional monetary award as a result of the inability to work, their disability actually preventing them to work, as well as affecting their quality of life. So in so much that their disability is affecting their ability to work, but in tandem with that is affecting their quality of life, they would be entitled to what they call an SMC, which stands for Special Monthly Compensation, and it allows a monthly award of $3,866 that benefit the veteran would be entitled to.
Now that's not small change.
Definitely not.
So they really need to be able to reach out to you to find out that information, because that's not small for any veteran and all the expenses that they're paying out of pocket. So once again, if you want to reach Theo in relation to that, you can call him at his office, 201-342-3300. And you are listening to WMTR 1250 AM. Phone number to call in. The lines are open, ladies and gentlemen, and we've been getting some incredible questions, and Theodore is answering some amazing, getting us some amazing information that I have a feeling not a lot of people out there know. And this is really beneficial. And the number here is 973-267-9687.
Fantastic. Once again, I want to finish up with the programs, going over some of the programs. Just to reiterate, in regards to the disability compensation, just as an added note, the VA does not care how much income a veteran on disability compensation has or how much assets he or she has. So as opposed to the pension and the death pension, the disability compensation as well as the DIC does not take in consideration the person's income or their assets. So that's a positive aspect to it. So one that is actually trying to obtain the disability compensation, they don't need to worry about it. It's just the fact that you actually incurred either disease or you got hurt while in service that you would be entitled for the benefit. I just want to speak very quickly speaking on Vietnam. One of the common misconceptions or questions is in terms of exposure, when a veteran has exposure to herbicide, which they call Agent Orange. And just a little bit of a history, maybe a lot of people are not familiar with Agent Orange or where that term comes from. The soldiers actually utilize herbicides to exfoliate the trees, the leaves from the trees, to make it a clear path so they could look at our enemies in terms of dealing with them. So if one would happen to be exposed to Agent Orange during Vietnam, it actually allows them certain entitlements. If a veteran can demonstrate he or she was stationed in Vietnam or in adjacent coastal waters between the years of 1961 to 1975, and the veteran has certain diseases recognized by VA as being caused by exposure to a herbicide, and an award for this benefit is almost automatic, meaning that you're not going through any trials or tribulation or any type of substantial evaluation period. Just that alone, the fact that you were stationed in Vietnam and you're dealing with certain issues, you are entitled to benefit. It's quickly assumed that you would be awarded this benefit.
But now, if they were there and over a period of time, how would they know if they were exposed, or would they just automatically assume, being in the areas they were where they were dropping that agent?
Yes, one of the positive things is that being the fact that they actually served in Vietnam or adjacent to those coastal waters, just that alone. So say, for instance, they served during that time period I mentioned, 61 to 75. Wow. And say, for instance, they developed these diseases or conditions later on. So we can actually use that as direct relation to the fact that they were stationed in Vietnam. So that being said, if it was determined later on, let's give you an example. They served in Vietnam. 15 years later, the veteran discovered that he had prostate cancer. The fact that he served, and although it wasn't given to him while he was in service, he didn't determine that he had prostate cancer while he was in service. But the fact that he served, we are showing a direct relation to his service in Vietnam, and it is automatically assumed that he's qualified immediately. So that's the positive aspect of that. But definitely, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure talking to you this evening. The lines are open. That number, 973-267-9687. We welcome your calls. If we have any other calls or emails.
Yeah, we have a couple more emails, and depending on how much time we have. Okay, how is the veterans benefit considered for trying to qualify for Medicaid?
Okay, what happens with that? Say, for instance, if the veteran is currently receiving claim, and say, for instance, they are going into a nursing home, and that veteran wants to pursue Medicaid eligibility. And if, in this situation, if they are currently on claim and receiving a monthly benefit, because they are approved for Medicaid, that monthly benefit would be reduced to $90. Okay? So that is how it's looked upon.
Okay.
The veterans benefit is reduced to $90 once they receive Medicaid eligibility. And I guess I'm going to wrap it up for this evening. Well, my friends, once again, it has been a real pleasure speaking with all of you who have just turned in to listen tonight. For those of you who have just tuned in, you are listening to the 65th Hour, Mondays with Theodore Tracey, the voice for senior solutions. Every Monday night, right here at WMTR 1250 AM. The lines are open for questions. The call-in number is 973-267-9687. Over the course of the show, we will be covering and discussing a number of very valuable and beneficial topics to help you ease your stress and worry concerning the next stage in your life. And for this evening, I want to thank all of you for being with us this evening, and stay strong, stay healthy, and well informed. Have a nice evening.